How do we spend 30 minutes again talking about tanks, and then we spend 0 minutes in the whole video, 1 hour and 40 minutes long, and we don't even mention daggers? We don't even mention daggers. Are we okay? What is this? We got a new creator roundtable where they're going to be talking about balancing issues. Now, the last roundtable, I was kind of disappointed because nobody talked about the big problems inside of the game, which was the Oracle shields and the daggers. So I'm hoping in this roundtable, they will talk of some of those important changes that we need inside of the game, and not only yapping about random stuff that doesn't really matter to the balancing. Now, I'm really happy that we at least got Tevin Dagger nerf. Now, I'm hoping going into this roundtable that they're going to be talking about the huge problems, which is 1, the Deluzna daggers, 2, camouflage cloak and assassination stance. Basically, daggers in general are just broken. Oracle shields. And then, aside from that, why melee weapons are absolute ass in PvE. And I'm hoping that my boy Invulnerable will cover these topics. I don't have trust in the others. I think this guy was in the last roundtable and didn't even talk about the big issues, which was the dagger and stuff. So this time, hopefully, they will talk about it. And the video is hella long. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to have it on a little bit high speed. So we don't have like a 3-hour session right here.
What's up, gamers? Welcome back. We are here for our second PvP Creator Roundtable. I'm going to introduce everybody with us here in a moment. For those of you who missed the first one, this is just an opportunity to hear from people in our community, really see what types of issues are going on, what are some of the metas, some of the macro and micro topics that they see within PvP.
Daggers, the Lulu daggers, already said it. Oracle shields. I mean, you don't need a scientist to figure this out. You can look on your leaderboards. You will see that every DPS is running dagger meta. You will see Oracle shields being absolutely broken, popping 80, 100k shields. I mean, it's not rocket science, guys, okay?
Things that could be improved, things they're really enjoying. So we'll get into lots of different topics today. Battlegrounds, GDG, maybe some other topics that they bring up. So stay tuned and we'll talk about all of that. So first, let me do some quick intros. First, we have Jihu. Jihu is...
What's up?
Cool. Zachriel?
Yeah, Zachriel here.
I'm invulnerable. I'm the guy that spams "can't kill me" lol in world chat and in area chats. People don't like me because of that, but
he's trying to get banned, bro. Look at Tico, bro. I mean, they didn't invite me because I'm a brand risk, but this guy is also a brand risk.
No, it's all fun and games. Besides that, I've been playing.
He's like, bro, you're not supposed to say this. He's like, this is not the script, bro. Come on, man. Look at.
Korean launch, actually, one day after the Korean launch. So I've been playing this game and making content for it since the actual start. I've seen every
the latest changes, which is the buffs that were applied for catch-up mechanics, the point capping debuffs, and I want to just get
that was ass
on how you think that is helping to.
The new background changes with the catch-up mechanic is so bad. It's getting abused. It's not good at all, and they need to remove that shit.
To shape the games, is it helping? Do you like the way that it's helping to reduce blowouts? What are your thoughts about that?
No. It's bad.
I think personally the new changes makes it people don't actually like spawn camp. There's been a lot of more like if you spawn camp for too much, you're getting that lead, you're getting that big lead, and then pretty much it kind of allows the losing team to like actually go out from their spawn and actually like start rolling the ball again. So from my personal experience and my community at least, we're seeing that there's been a lot more like combat games. Recently, it just got toned down for a little bit. But then I played it a lot during the previous week before this current patch, which is the 22nd one. Wait, no, right? The 22nd was the one that just came out. Yeah. So pretty much before then, there was a lot more like comebacks happening. There's been less, I would say less spawn camps. There's just been a lot more like dynamic going on in the Battleground, I would say.
Bro, the new system, while I like the thinking, it's bad. It does not work properly. Like the blowbacks and the comebacks are just absolutely insane. The buffs are just crazy, and the backgrounds doesn't even feel fair at times, right? So if you have like a static team and stuff, some people even like let them get caps so they can get those buffs. I like the idea, but it's not working. That's not how it should be. You can use some of the idea, maybe tone down the buffs a little bit, or make some other kind of changes. But right now, no, I'm sorry, it's not working.
Okay, I guess I'll say the next thing. So I think the Battlegrounds. So I haven't played the recent patch, which was like the 22nd patch, but there was I personally did feel the buff that you get at level 5 and 4 was a bit too overpowered. Now, I haven't really tried out the new patch to see how like it kept that level 3, right? So you can't go to 4 and 5 anymore. I think that's a good change because there was a kind of, you could say, meta where people would lose on purpose in the start, and then they'd get a huge buff and then win towards the end, from my experience. So the buff was a little too overtuned. So I'm glad that they kind of, brought it back. I'll be testing it kind of later after this recording. But yeah, in general, I think, so I've had some overall feedback for Battlegrounds that people don't really talk about. Personally, I don't know how you guys feel, this is my own opinion, but I would say the boxes, or actually people don't talk about it much, but I don't actually like the box system in Battlegrounds. I personally, I said in a recent video, but I feel when it comes to getting buffs, they should be like strategically placed on a map where you have to control the buffs. You know, if you have to get damage buff, you go to this.
I mean, I don't mind the boxes, but there should be some kind of changes to the boxes. I've seen some guy that's just box hunts all day, just take different buffs, and some of the buffs are really overpowered, right? So I think like certain buffs should not apply to certain classes. Like tank buffs should not be able to receive, for example, the dual speed capping buff because they just abuse it. They can cap so fast, so easily. I think certain buffs should be for certain classes. And I think I like the box system, but I wouldn't mind like different type of maps where buff spawns around the map, or important buff spawn at certain times of the map, like kind of a Dota style, but it's not my biggest pet peeve.
I just feel like the kind of randomness of just opening boxes, everyone running around opening boxes, getting heals and all this stuff constantly. I personally just don't like that. I think it's kind of weird.
Do you not feel like a certain area could get congested though? If you were to have specific buffs at specific location, that it would be super congested with like.
Yeah, but that's the whole point though, because people will fight for buffs, right? Like if you have buffs spawning at certain times, people will fight for it. Isn't that the whole point of Battlegrounds, fighting for buffs?
DPS is going to one place, healers going to another place, and then it becomes, rather than it being flowing, because I do agree with you to an extent. Like there is especially Furious Onslaught on the topic of like boxes and stuff. I think Furious Onslaught is way too overpowered right now. It's just super.
He's a healer, right? So of course he's talking bad about Furious Onslaught, because when people have it, they can actually kill healers. So again, if you're gonna change buffs, remove the mana buff. Let's see how people manage mana inside of the Battlegrounds, right? Yeah, if you're gonna talk about a certain buff, you better talk about the other buffs too.
Super strong. On the topic of like just going back to what Jeho and Invulnerable say, I can only agree that it was too overtuned. It went from the point like you were losing, then you could switch up the game with the buffs, and then you had the momentum going, so you always ended up on top. So it didn't really sway you into direction of winning. It kind of somewhat guaranteed a win. So I think this 20-second patch where you dialed it down a little bit was a really good change. So I just wanted to address that really quick. But Invulnerable, what do you think? Like, do you think it would get congested at certain spots if you were to like
objective
manually
spots,
place
right?
them?
Yeah.
But that's good. If it gets congested and people fight for the buffs, that's good.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Fixed spots. I don't know. I'm asking like what.
It's a good point. I don't really think of that too much that deep, but I think there are ways you can make it so perhaps like a buff that's good for all classes and is kind of in the same area, like one of each perhaps. Like there's probably ways you can do it that wouldn't make it congested, like you're saying. But I just like, if you look at, for example, like MOBAs and stuff, how you get like, there's massive buffs or whatever. You have to go to a specific part of the map. Perhaps you, like I play Dota 2, for example. There's Roshan. You kill Roshan to get the immortality thing. There's like certain objectives. Yeah,
I do play that too.
But yeah, I think strategically placed
But
buffs.
Chico is like, bros, please.
Breaking boxes, hoping to get.
I just want to get this over with, bro. My team developer leaders told me to do this, and stop yapping.
Cap buff, for example, from a tank, from the cap points. It's like if I get in the first 10 seconds, I can go around a back cap like super fast, for example. It's just kind of random. I'm not a big fan of RNG kind of stuff like that. I don't think it's a massive issue. I just think it's something that people don't talk about.
I mean, I don't mind it. Like if it's keeps in boxes or if they do it on the map, it's not the main important problem at BGs right now.
So like in a sense, create like small events within the Battlegrounds to kind of like. I mean, that could be kind of, sure.
Yeah, the randomness. I mean, the randomness is just. I would say there's something that we can improve on for sure. But
the randomness is what makes it more casual friendly, right? You have to remember, even though we want to sweat everywhere, you guys can sweat in war games or GVGs, but Battlegrounds is supposed to be more fun. If the randomness is what adds on the fun, it's more fun for the casuals. What's going to happen if you have specific buffs at certain places, the sweats and tryhards are going to know where these buffs are, and they're going to become, and they're the ones that are going to be abusing it, while the casuals are going to get clapped, right? So the randomness is actually a good thing. I don't think this should be changed.
I do agree if you make it like, let's say, the left side is like cap buff, the right side is like DPS buff. Then you just make it like, I don't know what the tanks are going to do with each other on the left side. What's the DPS going to do on the right side with each other? And then you're probably going to find like the healer doing somewhere in between.
Let's skip this topic. Let's go next topic.
I do think that most of the casual players, I mean in the sincere way possible, but I do think that some of them don't really read what a certain like things do. And then like some of the stuff also expire in like 2 minutes, a minute, right? So there's just so much buffs when the Battleground was introduced in the first place. So, I mean, the meta is like pretty easy to figure out right now. It's just like, okay, if you're a tank, gotta find occupancy and just stay alive, right? If you're a DPS, try your best to find either a reinforced steel or the Furious Onslaught one, right? The right one. and then you just pretty much like I guess that's just the current meta, and then you just like hit boxes in order for you to like just try to get it. But realistically speaking, I don't think people really hunt boxes like, okay, this is my first thing to do. That this is like the only like one of the best thing that I got to do, right? There's only a limited amount of spot for boxes, so it's just essentially under the bridge on the left side if we go to the battleground, or there's like continuously spawning. Because I'm not playing BG anyway. So I'm gonna be real. I don't stay alive for like a minute. I just die in like 2 seconds every time I play BG anyway. So personally, I don't really.
He must not have the Lulu daggers or an Oracle pocket healing him if he dies that quick. Is all I'm saying. He might not be. I think he plays Glad, right? Yeah, bro. Just get yourself some Delulu daggers and you'll survive. No problem.
You pay attention to boxes too much.
Sounds like a skill issue.
Oh,
So, it does.
I don't have daggers. I just can't go stealth.
Sounds like you're not Q blocking.
Yeah, exactly. Just stand still in Q block. That's what my coach says.
True.
No, but I think like the last time I was here, I mean, I was honored to be asked to rejoin. But I think like we had a few discussions, right? And the other content creators and Tico kind of opened up my eyes to certain. I mean, we were talking about server merges, for example, in the last roundtable, and Tico just asked me a question like back, and it was like, "How do you think about this?" And it kind of opened up my eyes. And I think like for the casual player, do they
Bro,
really
glazing Tico, that's crazy. Yo, chill, dude. Chill with the glaze.
to read what a buff means? Isn't it nice to be a casual player just running around chucking boxes and then you just get something and you feel giga powerful? I think it adds a cool random element. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it should be fun for the casual. This is, even though these guys are sweats and hard, at the end of the day, you have to cater to the casual player base. As a sweat or a hardcore player, you can still make sure that you are clapping everybody, but you need to have help for the casual players because the casual is what saves the game. So if you just got to make a game for fully sweats, you're not going to have a game.
I think like for a player that might know a lot about the game or that I wouldn't necessarily say care because I don't think it matters what skill level you are at, but I think everybody cares when they're playing a game to have a fun experience. But I think the randomness, one, you don't have to get congested areas. You could have small events that are happening on the map, like maybe a certain buff spawns or a little mini boss that spawns.
Okay, we already
that you
talked
could kill.
about this.
This will be interesting, yeah.
Other than that,
Can I say something? Sorry. There's one buff. Like once again, I'm not super against the boxes. I just think small things I like to talk about.
Yeah.
Talks about.
Gotcha.
What is it called? The radiant buff when you get free of the pieces and you turn.
Yeah,
into
that
the
was
lightning.
ass.
Can we remove the flashbang? I swear, every time I get it, I freak out.
Bro.
I go, oh, flashbang! CS:GO
The flash-
flashbang.
the flashbang is
Yeah,
actually-
I mean, that buff is ass. The triple shadow buff and light buff.
Oh my
Boom blasted your whole.
that's all he does.
Yeah, like tanks is
All right, let's
just
go
reducing
next
CC
topic.
res, right? If I'm not mistaken, from the when you cap something, it reduces your own CC res.
Yeah,
But-
and it affects the time it takes to cap, no? Or am I off on
but
that?
does it reduce evasion? Does any of you guys know? Because
No.
if it doesn't
It
reduce evasion, then probably the issue of like people just capping with each other, it's still gonna be the same, right?
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
Let's
the
talk about
only
evasion,
experience
though.
I
And
had with it,
Virabel, I
since
know you
I'm
want to say
not
something about
checking
evasion.
myself, is that the tanks that I have been playing with, because I played both last week and this patch as well, right? They haven't had any issues. Like they cap, somebody gets them off it, they get a debuff, they just try to recap it, goes a bit slower. It's like, but it hasn't been really
yeah,
that.
I would say it's still kind of the same.
But I wouldn't.
Yeah.
It would be invulnerable who has to either test it or because he's the one on capping duty.
So I'll be honest, guys. I'm so tired of capping duty. I've been doing it the past few months. Ever since the patch came out, I'll be honest. I didn't touch capping. I've been playing Head Chopper recently because I like killing people. So I've been posting playing SS Great Sword Head Chopper. That's been so OP. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I've been going around killing people, and I haven't touched a cap. And then people usually get angry because I'm a tank and I'm not capping, and they think I'm griefing. And I'm like, bro, I've been capping for the last 3 months. Let me kill some people for once. Holy. No, so I honestly haven't tested it, but I honestly think there's something that needs to be talked about when it comes to tanks and capping, and just tanks in general, which I think has to do more with the balance, which I don't know if we want to talk about right now when it comes to SNS or maybe a little bit later.
Whatever. Go ahead.
Okay, so now a lot of people have been talking about tanks in the community, and they want them nerfed and all this stuff. And I've had my
I mean, we already gotten many. I mean, every single week, every 2 weeks, tanks are getting nerfed. But yeah, I mean, you can nerf tank. I don't mind. You guys can nerf tanks to the ground as long as you're fixing and balancing the other classes. I've been saying that. You guys get mad at me. Spirit, you don't talk about tank. Nerf tank as much as you want. I mean, I'll adapt, but please balance the daggers and the Oracle shields at the same time. Is that too much to ask?
And try to figure out how you can nerf a tank that's fair, that won't affect them too much when it comes to like ZVZ compared to small scale. Because if you make them killable in small scale, they're going to die in ZVZ so fast that they're useless all of a sudden. You know what I mean? So you got to think of all different types of content when it comes to balancing. People just think of just Battlegrounds. There's more than just Battlegrounds in the game.
Yes, but nobody plays anything else. There's like a few guilds that does. Most guilds or big guilds are just hiding in their server. There's no ZVZ happening. It happens during Siege. That's it. I mean, most stuff is just small scale now. Let's be real.
I think the big thing that would be probably a good nerf for SNS is actually, so with SNS, you have an innate evasion towards CCs in the game. So the only CC you don't have is weaken. You can't like have a chance to evade weaken. Yeah, shield block. Yeah, so
Yes.
shield block, That's why a lot of people build shield block pen, especially when it comes to like tanks, so they can hook other tanks, so they can CC other tanks. I honestly feel personally a good nerf would to be actually remove the CC like shield block evasion from SNS. Make it so they can get stunned like other players. Make it so they can get CC'd by other players. I think that's actually, I think when it comes to nerfing a tank, it's either looking at increasing the cooldown of counter barrier, which is one thing. You could remove.
I mean, I said this. The way to nerf tanks is just changing the cooldown element to counter barrier. That's it, and that class is balance. You change the way the cooldown works on counter barrier, that you can it's not affected either by buff duration or cooldown. It will be fixed, because the people that hit the tank during counter barrier is just stupid and deserve to get one shot. But that will give enough gap for players when counter barrier is not active to actually finish off the tank. So honestly, doesn't require more than that.
Stunned without having a chance to miss, because I think it's not really fun to miss the target. I'll talk more about that later. But I also think stuff like, for example, I don't know how rampant it is on EU, but Bulwark is so overpowered. I'm going to be completely honest. Like, it's so overpowered. It's created the meta since Tier 2 to Tier 3 of the clumping meta. Able to hook 4 targets to a clump. Those targets are basically dead when they're in the clump. And that's why a lot of people, especially like on the high-end NA guilds, went huge collision resistance because Bulwark. It's literally just Bulwark. That's the problem. And also morale boost, for example, the fact that it's affected by Bulwark. So each person that is chained reduces your cooldowns. I think Bulwark is actually a huge issue, and also everyone uses it in their heroic SNS. Like everyone uses it. No one uses other stuff basically, besides a few people.
I wish they nerfed Bulwark ages ago. I'm not gonna lie. I want to be playing other SNS, but you kind of locked the Bulwark.
I'd be curious.
I do agree that morale boost, I think it's one of the really big issue on tanks right now. I think with especially Steelhearts, the amount of collision you can do with the loot pushes, with the chain hooks, pretty much, right? You pretty much like Bulwark, push, Tempest Strike. It resets every single one of your cooldown every time you collision. Right? Yep, exactly. Well, pretty much like it's just, I think personally, it's one of the issues that makes tanks really notorious right now, because that's the only reason why they're doing so much counter barrier. Counter barrier is perma up because of that one skill, one passive also. It makes them perma like all of the other stuff that makes them super tanky that usually have a cooldown. But then because of that whole collision thing and morale boost synergizes really well, the cooldown essentially becomes 0. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like if the cooldown is like nerfed or something. As long as that passive is still there, it's just gonna.
I agree.
In the last roundtable, we talked a bit about tanks as well. Like it was literally the same topic. We were discussing Battlegrounds, and then tanks became a whole thing. But I mean,
yeah, but like, can we like skip this? Like, I understand tank needs a nerf, fix the bulwark, fix the counter barrier, but it was the same topic on the last creator roundtable. When are we gonna talk about the actual issues? About the Oracle shields and the daggers.
To touch on that a bit, like I think the shield block is definitely an issue. The fact that shield block pen doesn't work for back hits either. You have to correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob. But that's something that is not working properly. And that affects a lot, because that kind of counteracts with the whole thing. Then I think the biggest issue isn't necessarily all of the buffs or that in its own. It's the fact that since late tier 2, tier 3, buff duration and cooldown reduction is just so high to the point where you can have perma uptime basically.
The problem is that the buff duration is a problem, cooldown is a problem for many classes that abuse this. The problem is that because there's no limit, then you start adding limits to these buffs, diminishing returns. They have so many different stats inside of the game that the developers doesn't even know which stats are getting abused inside of the game. It's crazy.
So I think like just going back, maybe we will see some new cappers, maybe we'll see some new builds if it was for the fact that you could actually kill a tank if they couldn't like just stand and cap the point regardless of if they get CC'd or whatever. They can just continue doing that like forever basically. I think the only thing that can kill a tank right now, if the stars align correctly, is a staff that builds full shield pen, basically. But they'd have to build full shield pen, and if all the stars align under the right circumstances, then potentially they could like kill a tank currently.
I personally feel, sorry, I will cut you off there. I think, so I don't think the tankiness is actually the problem.
Like, I do agree with Invol. Yeah, I do agree with that.
A lot of people say, like, the general casual community will say, oh, tanks are unkillable. I can't kill the tanks, so that's why it's a problem. It really, in my opinion, actually is the collision. If they didn't have so much, like, CC to, like, basically, I'm telling you, like, my guild, FTP, well, it's disbanded now.
I mean, the CC is the problem. Like, if you want to kill a tank, you can build to kill a tank, but it's the CC that's the issue. You should be able to CC a tank.
But FTP, a big reason why we won, like, every fight was...
Shout out there.
a big reason why we were so dominant was our tanks were insane. Like, we just collisioned everything off a cliff, or like just collisioned everything into a clump, and then everything just died because we were just the best at it. Our tanks were insane. So if you have very good tanks, especially GVG, it's just so dominant, in my opinion.
Yeah, so in my guild, like Old Sin Aura back-to-back tournament winners, we think that they are super. That we will agree to barrier and all of that is just too strong at the moment, and there's nothing that can kill a tank.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
same is the
Yeah.
Perma Divo that we have in T2.
Yeah.
Bulwark with the HP.
The cooldown, the
Collision chance, just put it through the roof. 3k, kinda over. Remember if the people get not like on
Let's skip the tank
gladiators in
topic.
there, right? Like,
yeah, it's a problem.
like it's much the one that makes them like really, really nuts right now, especially with buffing their teammates. Just
Bro.
like being a menace for like
They almost spend 1/4 of the
all
video
DPS
talking
can play
about
pretty much
tanks.
Like with Bulwark, you just chain them every like what 5 seconds, and having too cool to them as die. GVG setting. It's all because of that. Like,
Are we gonna have a third creator roundtable and talk more about tanks? Guys, please.
collision thing, right? It's not necessarily because of the tankiness, I would say. And that's
Tank is the problem. Let's finish this, okay? The tank topic. Tanks are the problem. The way tanks should be fixed is counter barrier. It shouldn't be affected by cooldown or buff duration, one or the other. Second thing is they should not have that high of CC, collision, and bulwark, right? You make these changes, that is enough. If you make more changes to the defenses, to more of the skills, tank becomes absolutely useless in everything. But as long as you fix the counter barrier, the CC, and please just nerf the bulwark because I want to play other SNS, I want to see other SNSs, it's done. It's fixed.
That's my
It's
opinion.
not that
It's
deep.
different on EU because, like, I agree with Jihu. So you're saying it's a little bit different on EU?
Yeah, I mean, on EU, tanks are not dying. Like, I can't remember the last time, but then again, I play a lot of GVG content, right? Like war game window.
I heard. And the state of NA, there was still some boonstone and riftstones, I would say.
Yeah.
I think NA's
Question, right?
yeah.
Keep hearing some people.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
jump in here with a question if you don't mind.
Finally, Tico is finally stopping them from yapping. Please, Tico, next topic.
I've heard
Yeah, sure.
there's this unending debate. How tanky should a tank be? I mean, I think that's the real question, right?
Yeah.
I keep hearing some people say it's okay to be tanky. Some people say
Yeah.
it's too tanky.
Yeah.
I hear Jihu say, oh, well, a tank shouldn't die to one gladiator. Cool. I hear Zachary say, well, the tank's not dying to 20 people. Less cool. So when we say tanks should be tanky, I mean, what do we mean about that? Is that, what do you think is acceptable when you say, I think tanks should be tanky?
When tanks are using their skills, I'll explain, Tico, to you, okay? How tanky should a tank be? When tanks are using their skills, so they're using their buffs, they're using their skills, either it's counter barrier, either it's bastion or whatever, they should be able to survive for a long time. When tanks are not using their skills, they should be able to be defeated by 2 players, in my opinion. That's how I would explain. If you're building to destroy a tank, like you build shield pad and stuff, you should be able to 1v1 a tank. When a tank is using its skills actively, Immortal Pride and stuff, you should not be able to kill a tank, and a team should struggle killing the tank when all the skills are on. But when they're off, you should be able to defeat it with 2 players. That's how tanky a tank should be. Simple as
What's an
that.
acceptable way to visualize that in your mind?
I would say have a weak window, but then that's because counter barrier is perma up right now.
So your view is they should be very difficult to kill with cooldowns, but there should be windows of
Yes.
time where
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
and the only, like Jihu said, and was talking about a bunch. Morale boost is the reason why that's not a thing. You're actually super squishy when you have no cooldowns up. Like you can
tanks
actually
are
die.
squishy if they don't have like that little shield around them. that's pretty much the only thing that's pretty much like you can't really CC them once they have that. You can't really like play around
And
with it.
for me, who's not that, what does morale boost do? And for everyone watching,
So-
maybe everybody doesn't know.
It reduces cooldown every time you collision, basically.
Morale boost, when you collision a target, it will reduce your overall cooldowns.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's skip
Is,
this tank
whether you
debate.
should be forced to solo queue or whether group queue.
Finally, new topic.
Okay,
I mean-
while we're talking about tanks and how they're kind of important to groups, I'm going to slightly take us back to Battlegrounds. We'll come back to DVG in a little bit, but
Sure.
I want to talk about Battlegrounds and I would say probably one of the most debated topics, at least one of the most debated topics that I see, which is whether you should be forced to solo queue or whether group queue should be allowed in Battlegrounds.
In my opinion, maximum 3 players should be able to queue. Just like you have dungeon matchmaking, you should be able to queue with 3. The problem is a full party queuing or whatever. It just becomes a massive issue. Also, second problem is healers being able to queue with a DPS spec and go in as a healer. So it's double oracles and stuff. That's just ass. But you should be able to play with a friend, so either duo queue or trio queue. But you should not be able to queue in with the team. That's reality
I just
of
want to
it.
hear your thoughts from Mel about that.
So I would say with the recent update, even if because I play a lot of solo BGs, I do sometimes queue with my my statics, but then if they don't want to like play, I kind of want to see the experience of like solo player. So I kind of have those 2 insights pretty much.
It's horrible as a
I
solo.
recognize once we have this new update that the static like problem, which is like if they have a static, then they just like spawn camp us, right? Pretty much. It's a little bit less. I would say I see it a little bit less because again, if they just spawn camp at us, there's just a lot more people with us with just coming out of spawn with this 20% debuff on PvP damage. Sorry, 20% buff, I would say, right? Less damage they're getting, and then more HP that they're having. They're able to push them with just pure numbers, which was not a thing before. Like if you have like a full static on your spawn waiting for you, there's nothing really you can do as a solo player, right? You're just pretty much getting free farm until the end of the game. So there's been a lot of like before the update of the Battleground buff, there's been a lot of issues with like, the game's ending with like 100k to like 10k points or like 100k to 5k. I'm gonna be honest, as a streamer, I kind of hate in that war game, even in the winning side or the losing side, because there's nothing you can do. Like I'm just gonna be streaming the game, hitting boxes if we're winning, or I'm just gonna be getting spawn cam if we're losing, right? But with the recent update, I would say, I don't think you guys adjust anything with the matchmaking, right? But I'm pretty sure I've seen even with statics on the other side, there's still a way to push back with some of the buffs, pretty much, yeah. But I would say the problem I think with forcing party and solo queue is if you force a party queue to like, let's say, let's have a whole lobby of like party queues. The only issue with that is the reason why rank BGs are an issue right now. I mean,
I
rank
want to
BG.
rephrase the question. It's not should there be separate queues, but rather should the one existing queue be solo only or continue to allow full groups?
Not full groups, please. It should be duo, max, or trio max queue together. That's it.
I do think. I mean, my personal
question
opinion,
is not deep.
I think you should keep the like play together part because I think in the end of the day, TNL is just a game that you play with like a bunch of your people, like friends, a bunch of your static. Even though like
I mean, you can still play with your friends. You can still sit with your team, 3 people and 3 people queue in, either fight each other, whatever. Right? Why ruin the experience for everybody else? Most people are queuing solo. It's only the try-hard sweat lords that want to queue with their teams.
yeah, it's gonna be a little bit bad on the solo queue side, but if you get rid of the way you play together with your friends, I think that's pretty much the only thing that makes people don't want to queue that game mode. They don't want to queue that specific topic because they just they just want to play with
dumb.
their
This is
team at the end
dumb.
of the day. You know, the day a lot of people just I don't think they essentially want to just like win. I mean, there's some people that want to do that.
Yes,
right?
bro. Everybody that's queuing with statics mainly want to win. You're capping.
Most of the casual people, most of the player base, I would say, is they just want to like, they got off work, they just want to play with their folks and have some fun BGs in the end of the day, right? So I would say if you remove that part,
That's cap.
it's gonna cause like a really big issue, I think.
No,
If
it
you,
will
if
not
you just
cause an
remove,
issue. You just have to tone it down to do a triple
like
trio
everyone
queue.
solo. Because that's essentially what a rank is, right? Rank is basically everyone solo, but then because nobody want to queue rank, because people just want to play with their folks still, so it ended up rank being ended up like basically I don't know about in EU, but in NA, I don't think there's anyone that queues rank BG right now.
No, we were like EU was gaming. Tico is probably here. Let me look through the data. No, but EU was actually popping off. Like I think the majority was playing. At least the people I know were playing ranked. Just gave a competitive edge. I do agree with Yeho. I think this is one of those things where it's like hard to please everyone because like it might be a bad experience. Like I know for a fact, like I've seen it on like when we're chilling just on Discord, just talking, and somebody's streaming their BGs, and it's like a tank, DPS, and an Oracle, and they're just blasting the whole lobby basically. So I mean, I've seen it happen. But then on the other hand, like if they didn't get to play together,
they're not gonna queue it.
Yeah, maybe it wouldn't be as fun. But it's a very hard question to answer, Tico, because I think it's I don't think anyone will like somebody will be unhappy. Let's say.
Yeah. No, so like realistically, Throne of Liberty, in my opinion, and I don't think enough people talk about this, but I think one of its actual best things, or like what stands out differently to other MMOs, especially, is how the group play matters so much, especially in competitive play. Like statics and knowing how to play together, it's so important. So this game thriving off classes like buffing each other, like especially like healers buffing DPS, tanks buffing.
But the thing is, when you queue in, you're still queuing into a party, right? And there's already enough content where you can play with your static. You have war games, you have sieges, you have riftstones, you have all the other stuff. You can have one piece of content inside of the game that is more casual friendly, where it's okay to not queue with your full static to go stunt on some casuals, is all I'm saying.
You know, DPS healers with Devo and Bastion and all that. I think group play is extremely strong and like way stronger than playing solo. That's why I think this game is way more of a group play type of game. So when you bring group play, when you play a group play type of game and you bring these.
Recently, it's getting less and less group play. Let's be real. I mean, the way the game has died off, the player numbers, most of the big guilds and the people has left out. The only people that are queuing in as a team, maybe there are some people that get off work and play with your friends, which is fine. But most of the people queuing in with the team is just to stunt on some casuals and get a bunch of kills and look good on the leaderboard.
These groups into PGs. It's a little overpowered, but I do agree with you a little bit. It's a little less.
It's not little overpowered, it's super overpowered. When you queue in with a full static that know what they're doing, you cannot win.
I still think
you cannot win
on the enemy team and your team doesn't have it, you basically lose from my experience. But
super overpowered.
I used to have a like an 80% win rate when I used to play with groups, but then I play solo from now on. Now I have like a under 50% win rate. Like I'm losing more than I win. Like I'm not even.
Sounds like you're scaring you. What about? Do you think that it needs to be full teams of 6 though? I mean,
no, 2 or 3. 2 or 3.
Go around anywhere.
Full teams of 6. Can you describe more on that?
I just mean like queuing with friends. Does it have to
Bro, are we on a different planet? Bro, asking the simplest question. Should you queue in with 6 players, or should you be able to queue in maybe at max with 2 or 3?
be allowing you to queue as a full static, or can there be some sort of middle ground?
I mean, now you could probably. I mean, if you want to have a middle ground, I'm not saying it needs to be this way, but you could probably split it up to be like either solo or like trio queue, so you can queue as 3. Because I think that most structured statics will probably want to have a tank and a DPS and maybe a healer. So I mean, just to find a middle ground, yes, that could work. But I think it would have to be either like solo, duo, or as 3. Then maybe 6 can be a bit overpowering. I think if you go in as a trio, you can still, especially with the recent changes to the balancing, which I agree.
Crazy. That's what I said.
Like,
crazy, dude.
Yeah, said earlier. I think both like. That change was really good to like when you're losing, you get the buff. And as I mentioned before, I also think the slight nerf to it was really, really well balanced. I think like trio queue wouldn't be too overpowering. In my opinion,
it's fine. I do agree.
I mean, I watched them stomp that lobby, but I think the rest of the people in that lobby were stomping as well. So it wasn't just like they were hard diffing everybody solo, but
yes,
the whole team.
That's what happens. You hard diff everybody. Like we can play around it, but if there's a full on static, they know what they're doing. You don't stand a chance. You want to try to avoid the static as much as possible. If you can, get away from them. But if you try to fight the static, they will clap you.
So I think the biggest difference from my experience personally when it comes to group play is if the DPS has an Oracle or not, basically. The difference of the like when I see an Expo with a giant white shield running around.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Oracle, let's talk about it.
And I can't do anything as a solo player. I'm like, bro, I'm going to die if I go for this person at all. The difference between having a healer or Oracle on your team is just insane. I think that's the biggest difference when it comes to group play from my experience. So,
well, you bring up, I mean, 2 topics that maybe we should touch on.
Yes.
One is,
come on, Tico.
how do you feel about the
Oracles.
recent changes to bonus damage? Do you think that's had some impact on what felt like maybe people feeling that a class was too overpowered, too bursty with no real counter in crossbow or Scorpion, I guess, specifically? How do you feel those changes have landed? And then on the flip side, you know, we've been seeing more discussion coming up about oracles in particular. So I just want to hear y'all's thoughts.
Yeah, Spit has been yapping, made 5-6 videos on oracles.
On those 2 topics.
you want to go first, Zach?
I mean, I think the changes were really good. Personally, I'm super happy. Well done. There's
Because he's a healer.
no more inconsistent quick fire like kills, just people blasting you. I mean, at least again, we're playing a lot of GVG content and we're doing VOD reviews hours on end during the nights, right? And from the VODs that we see, the crossbows that are thriving right now are the crossbows that are using their full toolkit properly. It's not revolved around bonus damage particularly. So the changes, I think you kind of hit the mark, at least for what the goal was with the nerf and according to the feedback that you had received.
I agree.
I think it's in a healthy state.
F Scorpion.
Okay, so now I'm not an expert on Expo, you could say.
Me neither.
And I think in general, they're consistent, like the consistent overall burst. They used to have just constant burst on you. That's gone, which is fantastic. Great change. But I don't know what this is 100%, but thunder cloud bombing is one-shotting people. It's I'm not. It's like a
it's a bug with the daggers.
There's I'm like shot calling or whatever, and then some random Expo goes in the ball, hits me with a bunch of stuff he's kit, and thunderclouds me, and I'm instant dead. I'm like, what just happened? I don't know what just happened. Sure, you finally killed a tank. Ooh. But like, the thunderclouds, I don't know what's happening 100% in direction, but man, that feels so broken. That much burst
it's bugged. It's bugged.
I'll give you a EU approved tank build so that you won't die to a thundercloud by G.
So I think there's some. I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but there's something wrong with thundercloud bombing. I think
it is confirmed.
I have talked to some of the Xbox users, and they're saying that it does pretty much something different. Even in PvE, thundercloud bombing is doing basically twice the damage than it was used to do. But again, I don't know what's causing it. But I would say overall the changes to bonus damage, it definitely felt better as a DPS because I used to just die from like quick fire with lightning infusion and falling flower. Those 3 passives were just like
lightning infusion.
I don't even reach that. Like they don't even need to thundercloud bomb me. I'm just dead. 40k.
I mean, it's good we're talking about the dagger issue, but can we please talk about the actual? We talk about thundercloud, whatever. Can we talk about the dagger? Can we talk about the Oracle shield?
HP glad, by the way. But,
like the actual problems.
So, that's gone. Like I completely see that as like pretty much the bonus damage. I think nerf pretty much has to do a lot with that.
Come on, Invulnerable, please.
So
come on, bro. Please talk about the Oracle. Bring it up. You guys spent 30 minutes on the tank. You guys can't speak 5 minutes on the daggers, the Oracle.
Should not be like I don't think the update should kill Scorpion necessarily, right?
Yeah.
I think the update should make Scorpion to actually do their thing in order to kill a person, which technically right now it's doing. I would say right now it's in I wouldn't say like the best balance state, but it's way better than it was before. Way better.
there was a video from a fellow content creator that was looking real dapper in the first roundtable with hat and everything, who put out a video in regards to the thundercloud, which explains it in depth. But there is something with the lightning. Is it lightning infused? I don't know what it's called. Like when you
Get the stacks?
skill tree exactly when it gets up to 20 stack. I think it does.
Yeah, we know it's a bug.
Yeah, lightning infusion stat with 21 because it's so 3 times, and if you like just suppose are still powerful when they are using their toolkit properly. And yeah, it's just a skill thing right now. So yeah.
Cool. And what are you all thinking about Oracle? I hear,
Yes,
I hear a lot of complaints about Oracle. Very.
I'm so happy that this man is bringing up that they're just yapping, bro. And this guy finally is steering them. Please talk about the issue, the Oracle.
Similar to what-
I bet I hear 30 minutes, just like you spent on the tank. I bet I hear 30 minutes of talking about how broken Oracle is.
Vulnerable just mentioned, I can't kill anything because there's an Oracle there.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
What are y'all's views on it? True or not true? Do you have windows where you can attack? Like, what are your feelings?
So
No
I would
windows.
say this. There's been a lot of speculation in the community saying that, okay, if we nerf Oracle, the DPS will actually build defense now, and they're gonna reduce TTK basically because the DPS are doing defenses now, right? Like either they build melee evasion or they build endurance or something. I would assure 99% of the player base that all the top players are not gonna build defense. The meta, even though if there's no Oracle, people will still build glass cannon.
Then they should be punished. If you're not building defense and you're relying on an Oracle and you're a top DPS, you should be punished. It's simple as that. Okay, they don't want to build defense. That's their choice. They'll get punished. Simple as that. It's not that crazy. It's not rocket science, bro. Doesn't mean that you need to have Oracle. Yeah, we want to keep Oracle broken because we don't want to build defense. No, that's not an argument. That's not an argument. You choose to not build defense, my man.
People just like the TTK is just gonna be higher without Oracle, and like I've seen a lot of the Reddit posts saying that, oh, remove Oracle, but like if there's no Oracle, the TTK will just be insane right now, I would say.
Yeah, but that is your choice. What is this? What is he yapping? What is this? Yeah. What?
Current state of the game, I would say. Seeker just can't help you. I'm sorry, man.
No. This is
Bro, that is the worst argument I heard in my life. People will die faster because they're still not going to build defense. So please don't nerf Oracle. What kind of... So you're saying the Oracle is that broken. It's that broken that you don't need to build defense. But don't nerf it because people don't want to build defense. Yo, that's so...
It's getting that Mariah Carey feel.
Holy.
So, why is Seeker not healing? Like it got too nerfed. Seekers got too nerfed.
Now Seeker is perfectly balanced. Don't even try to buff healers. Nobody can kill healers. Don't try to talk about buffing
And
healers,
then
dude.
To counter that, you got more orbs and you got more wands. And there is currently an issue with distortion veil stacking if you have different skill levels. So basically,
No,
one
that's
healer
fixed.
can have a distortion veil on level 4, and one healer can have a distortion veil on level 5.
That's
So
fixed. I
basically
already talked
infinitely
about
stacked.
this.
And it's the same with Blessed Barrier. So in most parties right now where you're running 2 orbs and 1 seeker, in competitive GBG,
That's fixed, and that still doesn't fix the issue. The problem is still there. Even with that issue, it's still there. Don't try to blame the Oracle being OP on a bug, because the bug is fixed and the class is still broken.
you have 1 seeker because they don't have any shield health because they don't get upgraded Cordy wand because we're useless. So we have that, like us are playing level 3 shield, not Blessed Barrier, Invincible Wall. And then you have one of the Oracles playing it on level 4, one of the Oracles playing it on level 5. In my mind, as a healer myself, the active mitigation, right? Like it should be a secondary mitigation. Shields should be a secondary mitigation. But if you want to dial down the way it works, first you would have to fix the way distortion veil works. That's number 1. Together with how shields work and how they synergize depending on the level. Like they shouldn't be able to stack. That's number 1. You would have to dial down certain, which I'm so happy because I've said this on my stream. Like you in the recent update to bonus damage, you found a core issue, a core fundamental issue, and you fixed it, and it actually affected the game instantly. I'm so happy about the direction that it's going, yeah? But you would have to dial down damage overall, because you cannot nerf shield and keep the same TTK on certain abilities, such as Thundercloud, for example. And once you do that, right, that will allow a Seeker's heals to actually be useful. So that's the way you kind of balance the Oracle situation out. You could dial it down, not have the shield stack, make DPS do less damage so that the healing from Seekers, you would have to dial up Seeker healing, because Seeker healing is, like my toolkit right now
No.
is complete.
I mean,
don't know what I'm playing at.
He's talking about his own class that it needs a buff. Guys, come on, bro. You're on this to be objective, right? Objective. I know you want to talk up your class, but please. The healers don't need a buff. Seekers have been broken since day 1 of the game. The only way to kill healers for a long time was if you were a Scorpion. And now the Scorpions are gone. I understand, like, it's rough out there, you die, but you're supposed to. You're supposed to die. You're supposed to heal, try to have your tank or whatever peel for you, but eventually you're supposed to die. But if you try to buff healer some more, yeah, it's cooked, bro. It's cooked. Don't even try to yap about this.
There's a lot of issues. It's so hard to say. Is it too overpowered? Yes. Does it need to get nerfed? Yes. But can you just nerf it off the rip? No. You would have to fix other stuff as well.
Yes.
That's my take on it.
I would say a lot of people just saying, oh, once they just get rid of Oracle, people are just not going to build glass cannon anymore as DPS.
That's not the case.
That's not true.
Let me. Okay, I need to explain something, and I think this is a core fundamental issue with the game. And I think
please, Invulnerable, please save this. Please save this, dude.
Well, on the head here. So, what is Seeker mainly good for? Like, what are their heals good for? I honestly feel like they're pretty good for tanks only. They're not
Tanks,
really
high HP user. Glad.
They're not really like for DPS.
Yeah.
I feel like the cleanse is there for DPS, but it's like mainly the healing's only good for tanks because they can survive for more than a second, right? Or that's why we put I think we put double oracles in DPS parties, etc. Right? But besides that, I think the fundamental issue is that DPS have always been pretty easy to kill. Actually, it's just the only way you could make a DPS tanky was to build evasion. Every DPS used to go kind of evasion because everyone plays like dagger or something. There's a lot of issues.
Evasion is just ass in general.
Evasion as a stat is also a problem when it comes to all this because DPS without evasion will basically die instantly. But these days, I feel like a lot of DPS can't build enough evasion really because, well, for example, it's an NA, they lose too much damage, so they don't want to build evasion. They lose too much this, too much that. It's very hard to build evasion on some classes. But evasion in itself is also a problem. It's also too OP as the SNS dagger shenanigan drama that's been happening.
Bro, just let this guy talk. Rest of the roundtable,
you guys know about SNS dagger stuff. Evasion it's definitely a problem in itself, and I think there needs to be core fundamental changes to how certain stats work, so TTK isn't always messy. Because from the start of time, the only thing that kept DPS alive back in the day was really Devo, and there's always been something that kept DPS alive. So it's Shield now. Before this, it was Devo. Before this, it was something. It's always artificial.
Bro is cooking. Bro is cooking. I like it.
Personally, I think there needs to be some number tweaks with how defensives work, perhaps in this game, or how evasion works. They need to remove evasion, in my opinion, from the game. I don't like evasion.
And I agree. Remove evasion. That shit is the worst thing I ever seen in a game. Players not be... You have casuals that can't even hit you, but they trigger your evasion, which gives you bonuses, and they don't even know that they're activating it because evasion is such a dumb stat. Not being able to be hittable and damageable because you have high enough evasion. What is that, bro? You're unkillable? Like, come on. I 100% agree with Invulnerable here. Remove evasion, bro.
Guys, I thought one thing that could fix this, kinda, without really... Because it's like, okay, so where would you start? Like, if I was NCSoft, or if I was... It would be like, where do you start? Like, you get all of this feedback from everywhere. How do you dial it up? You dial it down. And I mean, you're always trying to make what you can, right? Like, we're getting all these patch notes. Something gets dialed down, something gets buffed, something gets nerfed, depending on community feedback and what they see, right? But I think one thing that we haven't really dabbled with is PvP damage and PvP
stats you're talking, right?
Like PvP stats. Like those, it's like a workaround that could kind of, I guess, just make it so that you could dial stuff down, I guess. I don't know. I just feel like that's a stat like PvP damage and PvP damage reduction is like something that hasn't really, it doesn't really fix the issue on a singular level for each specific skill. But if
the thing is, they're overcomplicating it. I'm going to be honest. If you want to fix things, and you want to have NCSoft fix things, or devs fix things in any games in general, they're not going to go and try to fix all the stuff. They're going to go back and rework the whole evasion, rework all this. You need to give them simple and easy fixes. The second you start saying it's not an easy fix, they ain't going to do it. You have to give them the most easiest thing to do because they barely do that. They barely do the easiest stuff. So stop making it complicated. Just tell them that the cooldown is so broken and buff duration is so broken in the game right now. Just fixing that and adding some diminishing return and caps. Easy fix will fix a lot of issues. It doesn't have to be that complicated. I wish that they would rework all the stats and changes, but they're not going to. It's too much work. So stop giving them heavy load of
to be like
feedback.
A cheat code or a workaround, so to speak. Yeah, some sort, but like to kind of fix it. Because yeah, I mean, I do understand why a lot of people feel like oracles are too overpowered because you can, for one stack shields. And I mean, for me as a seeker, I'm going to be completely transparent. It's been super demoralizing because I mean, I love healing. I don't want to be tied down to playing oracle if I want to heal. And currently, my heals feel too weak. That's number one. I don't really feel beneficial.
It's not your heals feel too weak. It's because oracle... Why is this so hard to understand? I'm actually losing it. Your heals doesn't feel too weak. Yes, they could probably buff Seeker a little bit, but the Oracle is so broken that you can't even compare to it as a Seeker. It's not that your heals feel weak. It's because how broken Oracles are in the first place. If they fix Oracle, your heals will make more sense. Maybe it would make more sense to have an Oracle and a Seeker in a team together for better synergy, but because Oracle is so broken, that's why your heals feel useless. That's
And
what it
doesn't really
is.
matter if I have 3 healing touch stacks or a flash wave, or if I have Grand Aeon passive on my bow and I'm just popping Nature's Blessing. I can go full blast, 1 Thundercloud or 1 whatever, or they don't have a shield because the Oracle messed up or something like that, and they're just dead. So I mean, I've swapped out my healing touch for Arrow. I'm playing Delu Bow, basically. I've swapped out my Flash Wave for Flash Arrow. I'm not playing Bless Barrier, I'm playing Valorous Barrier. And it's like, I'm basically a buff bot. So the only heal I'm healing with, and I mentioned this before, is Swift Heal. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I want to give my DPS mana. I mean, occasionally it does save them, right? But I'm a buff bot now. I'm a little buff kitten.
That sucks, bro. That's honestly, I'm glad I'm not a Seeker player. Holy.
No, but I mean, like the thing is, I think a lot of Seekers, including myself, like it's been a lot of fun testing out new stuff, but I miss healing. And I think it would balance the game in a way and make Oracles feel less powerful if you first, as I said, were to fix the stacking of the shields, and but you would have to reduce the TTK and other like.
My man is saying the game will become more balanced if you also buff Seekers. This guy just want to play a game where you can't kill healers. Nobody can kill anybody. That's what he wants to play. The fix he suggests is buff healers, Seekers, so they can match the OP Oracle. Bro, I can't listen.
You would have to
this,
dial down damage because otherwise everybody's just gonna get blasted. And then maybe tweak Seeker a little bit to make that useful. But I don't think that shields should be the only mitigation that people rely on to survive.
Yeah. Like you said, Zach. When they remove the shields, everyone's going to die instantly, right? But so that's what I think. It's not really, everyone keeps talking about shields and this and that, right? But I think there's just an actual core fundamental issue there, like the fact that people are dying instantly if they don't have a shield. Like there needs to be a rework to defensives or something. Something needs to be fixed there. I don't have the absolute solution here. It's a bit more complex.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Like the solution sometimes is complex, but they're not going to do it, unfortunately. Like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. We've seen the latest updates and latest patch that we get. We barely get any balancing changes, let's be real. You're not going to get any complex changes, unfortunately. You have to ask for easy fixes.
I think, and we can have a little conversation about it, but there necessarily needs to be a rework to defensives in the game or something.
I think I would say the reason why Oracle is like very strong is just because Oracle don't need HP to work with, right? You can have 1,000 HP DPS, and an Oracle will just save that DPS instantly, right?
Yes.
But if a Seeker, you need your DPS HP pool to work around with it, right?
Yes.
If you're healing a target or a DPS that has like maybe like 50.
Yeah, crazy. The ESs have to actually use defenses. Crazy, right? Oh my god, no way. The DPSs needs to actually stack some HP and defenses? No, we can't do that. Well, no shit, bro.
Then you have an HP to work around that makes healing over time actually worth. But since a lot of the DPS are, the current meta is pretty much like dagger, right? A lot of them like crossbows are running like what, 20k HP, 25k, not even 25k HP, I would say 20k HP, like 18. So the solution, that's why Oracle feels a lot stronger right now, is because Oracle don't need the base HP on the target to make their healing work. Whereas like Seeker, they
needs
really need
the
HP, right?
And that's the thing. It should be the secondary mitigation. It should be the juice on top. It shouldn't be the main. Because like there's a difference between actively healing HP pool and mitigating damage. And I feel like we lost that when we nerfed Seekers to the ground.
Yeah. I would say one way to do it is, this is just a maybe, this is just a suggestion, but if you do HOTS, then your DPS or something get increased base damage. And then, increased base defense. Because base defense as a stat is like, I mean, we do have some, but I don't really know how it works in like math, like the numbers and all that.
Yeah.
But let's say if we do like HOTS increases base defense, or like maybe damage mitigation that comes in, like let's say if you're on HOTS, you get maybe like 20% PvP damage comes in. I think that will open up like a better window, and then you can nerf the Oracle once you did that. But you can just like buff the Seeker and just not nerf the Oracle, because if that's the case, then it's gonna affect the people.
I mean, you would have to do like somewhat balancing across. I mean, it became pretty apparent like the
Bro, Oracle needs a heavy nerf because it is overpowered. It's not like it's strong; it's overpowered. I don't think you guys like understand the problem here. Oracle is brokenly OP. Of course, it needs a nerf. You nerf it first, you see the changes, and then you make adjustments to the other things. You always balance the overpowered class first before you start making any crazy changes. You can't be buffing Seekers and then nerfing this and nerfing that. You make nerfs and balances to what is actually super broken, and then you see the results, and then you make adjustments to the classes that needs it.
Not, I guess that NCSoft maybe wanted with Seeker when they changed like the wand passive that does increased healing, right? That got removed, so it didn't affect the bow anymore because they went from healing to skill healing over time and shield health and all of that kind of stuff.
I think the number of HOTS are a little bit low right now, but I think it's fine. I think if you can like, let's say, like flash wave someone, and the people that you flash wave get like, let's say 1,000 more base defense or like 2,000 more base defense, then that will kind of like help the HP problem, right? Because you're not forcing your DPS to
I guess
HP.
I mean that could work.
tanks are unkillable if you do that. You know,
No, because you have
if you
a lot
hold
of
SNS, you don't get that buff or something.
yeah, no, but you have a lot of anti-healing. Like that's another thing, right? Because like currently in the game,
I do
you
agree
have
with
a lot of-
anti-healing.
yeah,
Yeah,
you
shield
do have
cut
a
is
lot
a lot less compared to anti-healing right now.
because who can do shield health received? Like if you skill the thing into Vampiric Strike, you do, and you pop that on a DPS, for example, like the dagger passive, right? And you pop that on a DPS. It doesn't affect the person that is getting shielded. So the DPS will still get those amounts of shields, right? The only thing in the game right now, I mean, the bow is.
I think I did this with my community the other day.
Yeah.
I think we do have around 5 heal cut. Correct me if I'm wrong. We do have
Yeah.
around like 5 or 6 heal cut, and we have 3 shield cuts. So I think that's
is
one.
it 3? Is it not bow and crossbowbut that has it?
Bow X1
Like that
dagger. Bow X1 dagger has it.
But dagger doesn't affect. Like
Oh,
okay,
I get you. Yeah,
you get what I mean, right? Dagger affects
Dagger-
shield health
oh,
given,
yeah,
not
yeah.
shield health received. That's crossbow and.
I mean,
healing. But we do have a
yeah.
lot of like anti-healing still in the game. That is like so. I think a lot of DPS would be able to fiddle around with their builds, and maybe in groups specifically, you could have one that runs anti-healing. But you would. I don't agree with Seeker heals, for example. If you were to change Oracle shields, I don't think it is at a good spot right now. You would have to probably buff it with like 25-30% or something like that, because like it's just way too undertuned now.
There's like too little shield cut, I would say.
There's
no
no
matter
more
right
shield
now.
cut in the game.
Yeah.
Minimal counterplay. Counterplay is the better way to balance, in my opinion, is to have
Counterplay, yeah, I do
counterplay
agree.
towards the shields, which we don't really have much of. I think the best counterplay right now, in my opinion, to the shields is actually the Delubo. Wardens. We have like Wardens running in our guild that actually just stripping all their shields now.
Wardens
That's the best way for us to deal with
SNS bow, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you. As an EU player.
Wardens is
I was like,
SNS bow, by the way.
as an EU player. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
want to
pretty
ask a
much.
question here. I've heard a couple of comments now from multiple of you. You kind of slightly touch on a stat, and then you say, "Well, I'm not entirely sure how it works," and then you kind of keep going. So this is actually one of the topics I want to bring up, which is like, you've touched on what are the builds? Is it glass cannon, and how do you build defensively for it? And I want to know like, what's your stance on the number of stats in game?
Oh my god. I talked about this. There's way too many stats inside of the game. It makes absolutely no sense. There's no need to have so many different CC, chance, petrification, collision, blah, 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 all that stuff. Same with normal stats. It's way too much. They're doing too much and they're introducing new and new stats every time. Last big patch expansion update, whatever you guys want to call it, with the classes, they introduced even more runes, shield, health, receive, shield, all this stuff. Way too many stats. I wish they would just remove like over half the stats.
Is for sure.
I know he agrees. I know he
able to
agrees.
create your own unique builds at times, and having that flexibility and being able to do some stuff that is against the meta. But how do you feel
So-
about the number of stats that exist in the game?
My opinion is I think the stats have gone to weirdly crazy amount of levels in general, numbers wise,
Yeah.
and there's so many different stats and stuff. And it's actually I'm a build maker, so it's pretty fun for me personally to like test stuff on stream and mess around with builds. And
It's fun on
so
the
many
high end part. I do
Yeah,
The
there's so
agree.
much-
problem is the problem is there's so many stats. It's so easy to abuse and make something really OP because the developers don't know how to balance it and doesn't know where the levels go, and certain skills scale off certain stats. Some scale of base damage, some scale of buff duration, some scale of different things, and it just makes certain classes super OP. I don't agree, even though I like the concept of having a bunch of stats because you can make unique builds. There's just way too many, and it's gotten to a point where there's so many things inside of the game, so many weapons, so many arc boss items, so many things, so many skills that it just abuses these crazy stats.
variety of like builds I can make for Crusader. I made like 8 different builds for Crusader in like tier 2, for example. I tested all of them, and I think that's awesome. But the problem is, with all this variety, especially in the kits of each weapon, having multiple identities and stuff, it's awesome. It's fun. It's a pain in the ass to balance. Like I don't know how they set them up.
Yeah.
They set themselves up for failure by adding
Yeah.
so much variety, so many stats, so many lists. Like I don't know how you balance this game.
basically-
100%,
bro,
when
My man is literally
there's
saying
so
what I'm
much
saying.
Involved, I guess, for me personally. That's the best
So I would say ever since D1, we've been getting like maybe like I would say 6 more relevant stats around that number. We have heavy attack evasion, heavy attack damage resist, heavy attack damage. Like those
Yeah,
kind of
that
numbers are,
thing
like,
was just
getting, like,
why.
pretty much we're adding more and more stats into the game, right? But I would say the problem is that there's no like in-game calculator on like what the stat actually does. So let's say like even like me and one of my member of my static that was playing the game for like a long time already, pretty much since the game was released. We were debating about heavy attack evasion 1 year into the game. Like it's called heavy attack evasion, but then it's working like an endurance versus crit instead of like evasion versus hit, right?
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
It's a little weird on the wording, and I think a lot of people is actually like confused. That's why a lot of people like don't really know what to build, especially if they I have this resources, I have this like Path of Ascension pretty much. Now what do I do, right? Oh, let me go to a streamer, or like let me go to a guide maker, and then they see all these stats in quest log, and they just like their mind just went boom, right?
The problem is, Jehuvo, is that the difference between the top guilds and the casual players, medium guilds, is actually having gear swaps and knowing what your stats, like you said, actually do. Like, the generic player that's new to the game, he may look at a build and say, I'm going to run this build because the streamer recommended it or whatever. But I play different builds depending on who I'm versing. I'll change things depending on who I'm versing. The metas of your servers change things depending on your build. Like maybe your server has way more melee evasion, you have to run more hit, for example. It's confusing. I don't even know how to explain to a new player how to build depending on their server because it depends. It's so difficult to build in this game, and you have to have a lot of knowledge and practice in it. And a lot of research, in my opinion, which is awesome. I think that's an awesome part, but I think it's a double-edged sword, in my opinion.
It's a fun part on the end game part of it. It's a really I would say it's a really high ceiling to get into as a beginner.
Yeah. I think that's just generally that's MMOs, right? Like there's just a lot to get into, and there's a lot of.
I mean, not really. Throne Liberty is kind of known for this. Throne Liberty has a lot of weird systems, a lot of crazy systems to understand, and then on top of it, you have like gears. You have heroic gears, you have stats, you have all these different items that you have to like understand. It's just too much. It's not normal in MMOs. Like Throne Liberty does this to a next level. Like I've been making content for a long time, and I can tell you easily that guide videos for this game I had made way more than for any other MMO, which is crazy because there's so many things you have to understand. There's so many small elements. Even I that play this game for a long time, even I make mistakes sometimes. Either it's leveling up my gear or making certain builds because there's so much things to just understand basically inside of the game. It's too much. It's too crazy compared to other games.
Stats, and I mean, to an extent, I do agree, and I see how it can be overwhelming. But I think that's part of our job as streamers, right? As well, like people come into our streams and they look for build guys, or they look for you. Like it's always been part of it. I don't necessarily feel like for new players that it is overwhelming. I do agree with Yeho though; it could be more descriptive.
Yes, I would say
in terms of like just because then it doesn't really matter. I mean, I get that it's hard to maybe implement a calculator, but maybe just make it more descriptive, right? To the point where somebody could figure it out. I mean, I feel more sorry for that case for new players because, I mean, both new and returning players can basically not start or return to the game, in my opinion, due to heroic gear. I think that's a bigger issue.
That's a new topic.
Or like, what should I go for? What should I build? Because once you've done it and you've decided, like, yeah, I'm going to go for this build. I saw a streamer do it. And then, luckily I have...
The thing is, I've suggested a bunch of things to the heroic gear. I think being able to swap your traits on heroic gear should be a thing. Like, you have a heroic gear, my man. You paid for it, you level it up. You should be able to swap your traits whenever you want, as long as you have a heroic item. Because that, either you unlock the trait and then you'll have a swapple, because then you can kind of adjust what you want to build on it, what you want to use it for. Now we're that so far deep inside that people are struggling to even max out heroic gear. And when they do, it doesn't work for PvP, or it doesn't work for PvE, it doesn't work for this build because you traded it in a way like... Heroic gear is just another thing.
1,000 Lucent because we drop Cordy stuff all the time with Delos Noah stuff, and I get from my guild, so I'm able to just swap it. However, what Pico? It's true, bro. Just farming, but it's true. But like for the general player, they're not able. I mean, I have so many friends, and I had a guy actually today when I was streaming. He was like, "Yo, I stopped playing in tier 2. Am I able to come back? Is it complicated to get into the new gear?" He was literally asking this question, like, "Is it hard to get into it? Like, what is the meta right now? Blah blah blah." And I told him, like, there's Path of Ascension. And Path of Ascension is amazing. It's really, really good. It will get you started, get you sorted. And then you can just follow my build. He was a seeker, so I was like, you can follow my build.
Yeah, but after Path of Ascension, you're cooked. After Path of Ascension, you're cooked. I made a Hyperboost character. I can easily tell you. If you don't swipe your credit card, you're cooked after Path of Ascension.
But I said, the only hard part is the heroics. I think that's... I wouldn't say it's too much stats for a new player to create builds. I would say you could add more description just so people understand what the difference are between the different stats. But yeah, heroic is an issue.
Can I?
At least in my opinion. I don't know what you guys feel like or what you've heard.
I've got a very strong opinion. I'm probably one of the original people to have this very strong opinion. So I made like a video a while ago talking about how a little bit clickbaity. Heroics are ruining the game, or whatever.
No shot, bro.
no. So I made this before they made the changes to the sync, for example. So it was like worse before. They made some good changes with syncing and stuff, so that's helped. But I talked about how heroics were going to be really bad for the newer players coming in because it's so hard to catch up. It takes months to like max out a heroic, to even get your hands on your heroic setups and stuff. And what if you want to play a second build? What if you mess up, right?
Yeah.
And then the heroic traits, for example, are extremely expensive. Like holy shit, little NA, like 20K for like a perception trait or something for just one.
Heroic traits are pay to win. You cannot get them. Even I don't have heroic traits. Because they're pay to win straight up. The only way to get them is through pay to winning, dude.
It's insane on some of the things. I think heroics need to be reworked in some way. I think they need to be more accessible and be able to change your build depending on if you want to play a different.
You should be able to change your trait. I've been saying this since day one. It's a heroic item. You should be able to change the trait. If you have attack speed on it and you want to play something else, on a heroic piece, You should be able to change it to hit if you need it for PvP. Then you should be able to change it back to attack speed or some way that you unlock all these traits on it, and then you can swap whenever in between. Like, bro, it's not that crazy. It's such an easy fix.
I think we brought in the sync system to Throne Liberty to like have variety of builds, right? That was the philosophy to have a variety of builds. People like messing around with different builds. It keeps the game fresh, and people love that stuff, you know. But the heroics have made it so it's impossible to really switch builds. Not impossible, but extremely hard and way too time-consuming to switch builds. And you could even add the unlockstone cost, for example, being way too high. 800 for a damn one swap. I need like 1 million unlockstones to fix one damn heroic here. If I have 2 different builds now, I'm freaking out here. I'm like, I need to wait like.
Don't worry though, the new content, the Tower of Greediness, that will give you 100 unlock stones. You just need 900 more to get one trait. Don't worry. Look at the good. It's like, he's like, oh my god, no, don't talk about the unlock stones. That's not what we came in for. Please stop it.
5 months to get enough unlock stones. It's just insane. The progression, the heroic system is good itself. The progression, in my opinion, is bad. I think the progression is very bad in my opinion. Yeah.
I have spent like 2.4K unlock stone switching my greatsword from hit to crit, back to hit, back to crit.
You're such a beta
It's a lot of unlock stones.
Just get a second sword, bro, at this point.
Yeah.
I know.
Just when it comes to the heroics, I think like y'all are bringing up the cost to switch and stuff, but and with gear in general, do you feel like there are some barriers to swapping gear because of how much goes into a single piece and therefore how hard it is to change to a new piece when you acquire?
Yeah, dude, it's pay to win as hell. Only the big whales got several sets or people running 6 alts.
Or, you know, something like I have a heroic ring, I've got it, I got the necklace, maybe I could try this other build, but I have to get these 5 other things ready to go for the necklace before it's up to par, or even just non-heroics, you know, you have traits, trait resonance, other aspects like that.
I mean, you need to have all the traits, or I need to have the trait resonance, or your piece is not usable. It's simple as that.
The introduction. Sorry, Jeho, to cut you off. Like, but the introduction was like when
keep pretending like he is saying Jihu's name right the whole time, or
yeah, basically, yeah.
Wait, how am I saying it then?
It's fine.
Isn't it Jihu?
The accent is kicking in, bro.
But that's the Swedish Viking.
I don't mind.
Okay, got it.
Nah, bro. Somebody in the YouTube comments will say it. Nah, can this real guy just say it? Your community's gonna pop off. Nah, but like I think when you added the tier 3 tier 3 gear into the material transmutation, at least I popped off. I had so many of the ascendant stuff, like the not the ascendant stuff, but to like what's it called? Help me out.
I don't know.
Resonance. The resonance trait. Yeah, the resonant unlock stones. Thank you. So that was a good addition. I mean, it's just the cost of it. I don't mind making the initial purchase. You know, like I grind up, I spend those 800 unlock stones, and then it's unlocked. But then I would want to swap more freely in between. It's like I remember, like for example, when we introduced Hyper Boost, there was a few things that was really, really good about it, because like it's 2026. The attention span of people nowadays is like 2 weeks, and that can infuriate me. Like I've yapped about this on stream so many times. It's like people expect content 1 week after major content is released. It's like, Jesus Christ, just play the game and be patient. Like they cannot just throw out content every day, right?
Bro, it's been 3 months and we got a Tower of Greediness. There's no content every week. We expect some proper content at least after 2 months. Please don't defend this. Don't defend this TNL stuff, dude. Yes, we live in a TikTok brain. They making hella money. The game is pay to win. They should be able to deliver us content. Sorry. Simple as that.
But the thing is, like, we will always lose players because people have other stuff. Like, but you want to have an influx of people coming in as well, right? And that's the barrier right now, I think, in my opinion. That is the issue. We have people leaving the game for not because the game is bad or like whatever the case.
Just say it. It's bad. I understand Tico's here, but you can say it.
It's in every game. But the requirements to come back to the game, the hyper boost was good. Like you got caught up. Yeah, the milestones progression was going really fast. I mean, there was issues with runes. They were still too low for those players. Artifacts.
Mastery.
Yeah, masteries, artifacts, like those kind of stuff. There was still a few things that the average player didn't get. And again, the heroic system. I think the addition of heroic weapons is amazing. I love it. And I think you should strive to unlock it. And I mean, I remember your Tico talk when we were like, when you guys were introducing it and you said, this is not something we want you to achieve overnight. We want this to be a milestone in your progression as players. It will take a few months. Play the game, enjoy it, and you will get there eventually. That's fine. But if I want to change something, I don't want it to take months again.
I mean, I already talked about this. I mean, you should be able to swap hero. I mean, it's not that crazy. Once you have achieved it, you should be able to swap
it. That will help the people leaving getting replaced by an influx of new players. Because me personally, my DMs are getting spammed by my old friends. Are like, yo, I want to get back to the games. Do you guys need healer? Oh, I don't have a heroic crossbow, or my heroic crossbow, because all of them are playing crossbow. But it's like my heroic crossbow is level 2 or something, or I don't have enough trait on lockstone. So I don't know how to fix it, because I understand the vision and the idea of heroic and that it should be something you strive for. But it should also be easier to just swap around it. And I know you did some changes, but I don't think it quite hit the mark yet.
It's not yet.
I don't know what you guys.
I agree. I agree to a certain extent. I definitely think that we're in the right direction with heroics.
Yes.
We definitely need. To even bring on the whole hyper boosting, I mean, the hyper boost, at least the Path of Ascension was pretty good for newer players. I always, when people come in, for example, to my chat like yours, say, I want to come back to the game, but I'm scared to gear up, you know?
I mean, Path of Ascension was fire. I mean, we had a lot of people coming back with very minimal amount marketing, but they need to do a follow-up, and then they need to help people hold their hand. Unfortunately, you have to hold people's hand when they came back to the game. After Path of Ascension, there should have been some kind of new update to make it a little bit easier for new players. But what you guys did is you got new players to come back, and then you threw new pieces of gear on their face and be like, hey, pay to win this. And of course, they're going to end up quitting. Like, hello?
I always tell them, the gear is not the problem. It's always the heroics. And like, I'll be honest with them. The heroics, I'm not going to bait them into whatever.
Okay, enough about heroics. Can we go to the next topic?
No, go on.
Tier 2 was, I would say tier 2, I mean, it was fixed. There was some mistakes there, like how the gear was released, just how you got your gear and stuff was a bit rough, especially like, you remember Auric Vanguard, like everyone wanted that set, but it was way too expensive, way too hard to get. But in tier 3, it's been amazing.
It's been amazing in tier 3, I do agree.
But that was even the Nebula accessories and all that stuff. A lot of them, not all of them, some like Exodus ones that are pretty hard to get, right? Which I think that's fine. That's fine. That's
like prestige item.
I think the majority of Nebula items are way easier to get as well, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. From the you get from the boxes, access to more boxes from the Nebula vendor. I think the new boxes from the Nebula vendor,
because that ties into heroic gear, the entropy shards and the like prisms as well. The
what they were like when they were there and the impact. To me, it's a big topic, right? Because I think OpenWorldBosses community towards PvP.
Just apart from that other stuff tied to heroic.
Let's see. Next topic.
Okay, I want to jump a little bit back more towards PvP specifically. It's a little bit of a broader topic, but for a while now, I would say we've been seeing in the community also something that's debated, which is
daggers.
OpenWorldBosses, specifically.
How are we not talking about daggers, bro? What is going on? The video is almost over.
PvP OpenWorldBosses.
Oh.
To me, it's a big topic, right? Because I think, candidly, I think there is a little bit of people forgetting what they were like when they were there and the impact it has to the general population, right? I think it's very easy to see why the top 3 to 5 guilds on every server would like OpenWorldBosses, right? I think it's harder to remember the impact it has on the general population. Yes. But regardless, I'd like to hear, y'all's general thoughts on what feels a little bit like a growing sentiment on bringing open world PvP bosses.
I have so much strong opinions here. If you guys want to go here first,
nah, bro.
Okay.
Okay. So I've been playing. So like I said before, I've been playing since like KR's release. I've been playing open world bosses for, I don't know when you guys really started playing. I don't know if it was global, but I've been playing with them for a very long time. And there's been so many iterations of arcs when it came to them, because originally, in KR, you had alliances of 20 guilds versus alliances of 20 guilds in the world bosses, and the way that stuff used to work. The game has changed massively, mostly in a very good way. But I would say that, so there was a patch in Tier 1 for global. They expanded the areas of the boss arenas. And I think that was the actual right direction, in my opinion, to actually go. Also, the fact that now alliances are 2 guilds instead of 4 guilds.
Thank you for that.
I really don't like the alliances in general. There's different opinions on it. I just
yeah,
want to be
alliances should not be a thing, but 2, whatever.
The fact that there's not like... The problem with world bosses was the arena was small, and there was these 4 guild mega alliances taking control, and no single like casual player or casual groups could even do anything against that many people, right? And I think if you made the world boss zones like way larger, you remove the alliance system, it wouldn't be, at least in my opinion, it wouldn't be that bad, or the problems that the old world boss system had, because it wasn't perfect.
I mean, there would still be shadow alliances, but it'd be better. Sure.
But
I talked about this too. I was a big advocate to remove alliances, because I said if you remove all alliances, instead of having 2 big alliances fighting each other, you're now suddenly going to have a bunch of guilds fighting another on every single front, thinking that they can hopefully get some of the loot, right? But when you have alliances, it's easier to, and usually what's going to happen is you're going to have Alliance A, the stronger alliance, fighting Alliance B. Everybody else, they don't even come and try to fight it. But if you don't have alliances, suddenly you have everybody fighting. Everybody's going to be there. Everybody's going to be fighting, trying to get any type of loot, because it's so much chaos that maybe even some other guilds have a chance to do something.
More bosses, and the feeling and the vibe compared to going at an instance portal, it's just a better vibe. And it feels like when it was removed, the soul of this game kind of got removed, and a lot of people just didn't stop playing the game because I don't know, that was something that was unique to the game, I guess, in a way. It just wasn't perfect. It could have, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I mean,
it's not the most unique thing, because... So did they just cut out? Oh, something happened here that he cut out.
So I would say something regarding the open world bosses. I don't know if you guys kind of tested this with Abyss dungeon bosses, because basically Abyss dungeon bosses are pretty much like open world bosses, right? kinda in a way. But I mean, the walk back is just a long path. But I would say that the test on it resulted in like, okay, just one guild is probably gonna be controlling it, or like two guilds is probably gonna be controlling it, right? I think when conflict process is back though, I don't know if it's necessarily gonna be the same, but I would say it's gonna be having like around the same impact. I would say with the current like pretty much Abyss Dungeon bosses, which pretty much one or two guilds are gonna be controlling it. I mean, it might be gonna be a good fight and all that, but I mean, it just depends, right? I mean, we changed the way peace works too compared to like what it was before when we had open world bosses. So peace has been easier for people to get loot and all that. So I don't know if people are actually gonna be complaining if we bring back open world bosses and tested it, because basically right now we have.
I mean, if you're gonna bring back open world bosses, you have to remove the alliance systems completely. It's the only fix.
Portals, right? I mean, guild portal is kind of the same. It has the same impact on like the top guilds economy, because they're still gonna be getting it in a sense, right? So yeah, that's just my opinion. I don't think it's gonna change like the way the economy work. I mean, it's gonna be more content in my opinion, but I personally I kind of don't know what's gonna happen with like the current sentiment. It's such a mixed feeling.
I thought I knew what I wanted because this was discussed previously as well, and then Tico just asked me an open question back, and it just made me rethink my whole existence. I'm
it's glazing Tico again.
Comment below. No, but I genuinely don't know. Like, in my mind, yeah, sure, it would bring back content, yes, but you would most likely have strong alliances
taking it over,
taking over. And I mean, I guess that's one of the reasons. I mean, there's no.
I mean, that's why you have to abolish the alliance system before you can do it. If you don't do it, I mean, it's just going to go back to what it was.
It's cause and effect, right? I'm pretty sure that NCSoft's original idea was what you were so passionate about in Vulnerable, having that sense of open world PvP, having that aspect of the game, and then through continuous feedback from the community, which I could only assume, they made changes to how that system works with the peace portals and the guild portals and whatnot. So it's a super hard topic, Tico. I'm sorry, I cannot give you more. It's so complex to answer.
I really do think though, like if you don't have alliances, it won't be such a problem, because like the difference between.
I mean, the thing is, in Vulnerable, in my opinion, by far has the best points. I mean, we definitely think alike. I mean, you have to be a little reflective, right? You have to understand it's not about bringing them back. It's about making changes and then bringing them back, right? That's how things work. You have to make adjustments. Then you have to understand how these adjustments will change the game. Because the open world bosses didn't used to work because guilds and alliances controlled it, right? Simple as that. People couldn't do content, so they brought portals. Then they have taken away alliances. If they completely take them away, open world bosses might be fun again, because now there's no massive alliances gatekeeping them, right? So it's like cause and effect. You have to understand that if you make changes, it might make certain content more fun again, and certain things won't be as good.
Like, let's say 70 people versus 240 people.
It's the same with the Oracle Shield thing, right? If you nerf the Oracle Shield, maybe DPSs will build defenses. If they don't, they will get punished. Maybe Seekers will be viable again, right? By nerfing Oracle Shields, because it affects so many things. By changing something in the game, it will help so many other things blossom, basically.
Or whatever, right? It's crazy. Like, at least you have a chance by bringing a few different groups. So smaller guilds actually have a chance to do something. And I just think the main issue in the past, and a lot of the issues in the past, have been resulted, in my opinion, to the alliance system being a problem. I mean, it was a lot of complaints and just everywhere. The alliance system being a problem, and it used to be way worse back in the past, because I don't know if you guys knew, but back in Korea, all the like conflict events and everything used to be open world, and any alliance could control everything. Like all the like content was controlled by alliances. Basically, it was
situation for them is similar. But currently,
I want to go to the next topic here.
Open world bosses.
The video is already like it's over an hour long.
Managing people, loot counseling. I would say like all of those stuff is just like really difficult.
It's horrific.
I would say being in a top
guild, guild system. I mean, being in a top guild, you have a lot of good advantages. You have way more pros than cons, but guilds management and politics in this game is pretty toxic.
It's kind of easier because I mean you just get all the loot. When a guild leader quits the game, usually what happens is there's an influx of players that also quits with that guild leader. I think this is like
that's in every game.
Thing that's
in every MMO.
It's because like, okay, I play this game with this guild. That's why I'm logging in. The guild disbanded. Now there's no reason for me to log in again. So that's, I think, one of the strong things. But Yano is actually the community side of it. I think the community side of it is one of the stronger side, one of the really positive and strong side of the game. I think we just need to make like some sort of adjustment with like being a guild leader. I would say maybe let's say like loot distro instead of like clicking one by one.
Bro, the video's almost over. They haven't brought up daggers one time. What is happening, bro?
If people are not there to like, oh, we have like 4 archboss in a week, and then It's tough being like.
But if you, yeah, and that's the thing, like going back to the whole open world discussion, because I do agree, but that all ties down. That's the funny part of like when you need to fix things, it usually ripples and fixes other things as well. So in the current state, because there's not enough competitive guilds, or there's not enough competitive structured for an open world to make it like competitive or whatever, you have all these big guilds or the good guilds that have the alliances that have that structure just dominating the open world, which makes it hard for the casual player. I mean, you mentioned it as well in Vulnerable, right? So it's like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, is it fun? Yes, it's very fun. Is it fun for everyone? No, it's not. And then you touched on that. I'm just going to say it the way I say Jehu. And
You're fine.
No,
okay,
right.
It's because I said Jehu instead of Yehu.
No problem.
Yehu. Hello. No, but like, as you were still getting attacked by Tornado, I don't really know what would be the best way.
We are coming up here, nearing our time. I want to give a chance in case there's any topics maybe I haven't.
Daggers, please. Come on.
I would say something about server identity needs to be brought back or something, right? In T1, there's been a lot of like server identity, and then like, oh, okay, I'm from this server. This is happening in my
Why
server.
are we not talking about the damn daggers, bro? What is happening? The video's almost over. They haven't brought up daggers once.
All that, but I think kind of right now it's kind of lost. I would say maybe if there's like a server v server content or something, the inter-server is an interesting way to do it. But then, like, let's say, okay, FTP is like controlling, which is the Info Guild. Pretty much they're controlling like the server. There's not really a reason to like, oh, like I'm the same server as FTP. Let me cheer for them fighting against this other inter-server like fights, right? If somehow there's a way to make that like, how do I say this? To make
people who get stomped by a guild.
Yeah, they want to like root for the top guild in their server, which reduces the server hostility and pretty much like helps with the game health.
I'm gonna counter.
I already talked about this too. The way to make it balanced, if you hold a Boonstone or Riftstone as a guild, one of the better ones, for more than a week, you start getting debuffs and they keep stacking. That way, smaller guilds can challenge you when you have high enough debuff. That way, it'll be more fun to fight Boonstone, Riftstone against much stronger guilds because they have a debuff on them.
Push here on this one just to say, like, was server identity coming from unity within servers or hatred within servers?
Right now, it's very different with hatred, I think.
Always hatred.
Right now,
I mean, is that just now, like, kind of seriously asking, you know, a lot of the server drama that I saw of server identity came from X and X doing this. We don't like them. So those of us that don't like them are trying to do.
I mean, the reality is if a guild is dominating in the server, they're hated. If a new guild comes, beat them, and they start dominating, they're hated. If a new guild comes, they beat them, they're hated. It's just how it works. If you're winning, you're getting hated on. As simple as that. It's not drama. Not the crazy.
This ties a little bit back to the previous discussion about open world bosses, right? Which is, at the end of the day, like in PvP, there's one winner. There's not 10 winners.
Yes.
And nobody likes to be a loser. You know?
Yeah.
So
ask me. I've been doing it for a few years.
Anyways,
but I agree.
I'm not against the idea of server identity, but I do think it's a bit of a misnomer that unity was driving server identity before. Maybe what you've seen is you've lost some of that because people got tired of losing.
Right. Yeah. Maybe.
So, to talk about like the whole, like I think inter-server siege. Now I don't know if you guys agree with this. I have a bit of a skewed opinion on it because we were dominating. I think inter-server siege, especially, I just don't think it's that great of a content for me personally. I don't think it's that great. I feel like it should be top of my head, like a server v server actually. Like, so I'm talking about like, one server versus the other server, and perhaps you can hire mercs or like guilds. Like whoever owns the castle can hire a bunch of different guilds to help
What's the
fight.
part that you don't like about it? The scale isn't big enough?
It feels odd when it's like 2v2. Like,
So
I feel like if there was more people.
I would say it's number.
I think if there's more people.
Yeah. I mean, in inter-server siege, you don't really fight anyone outside the gate, right? You're just two guilds going instantly barrage inside the castle. Pretty much, you're not really fighting for the golems. You're not really fighting for this. You're just like, it's a 2v2 in a lot of cases, right? Which is in regular server siege. I mean, we have like a lot of X factor coming in. Oh, who's grabbing that? Who's grabbing this? Yeah. So I would say it's just like
I mean, I don't see them changing too much with the inter-server siege.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Maybe you can do it. What do I know? Like maybe there is I don't know how easy it is to develop, but maybe you can have like a list where random people from that server can queue up and they can get dragged in. Like Invulnerable said, like a merc thing would be pretty cool. Because right now it's like you run to the central rest point, then you run to the inner courtyard rest point, and then you rush it to the. And then it's usually the chokes are like in between the inner courtyard and like the middle rest point. That's usually the choke that happens, or the inside spawn point for inter-server siege. So yeah, it's definitely a lot more dynamic when it's normal server siege and just the whole server dishes it out. Then it's like, yo, who's this guy capping our stuff? So yeah, that could be a cool idea, definitely.
Yeah, maybe like the four.
He's yawning.
Guilds,
yeah, see,
make them like
he's tired, dude.
Before like top ranking guilds in the other server, make them an alliance.
Yeah, something like.
Okay.
I think it's more teams in general.
I don't know if you want to make it like open world, because the portal system is just really bad right now.
Okay, they're back on the boss talk, dude.
But Grimturk dies in like 2 minutes.
That's definitely a bug that's been there for quite a long time, and hopefully that will get fixed eventually. Maybe I did hear about a Nebula rework at some point, like in the past. I wasn't too sure about that, but I'd love to see a Nebula rework in general. There's a lot of things that need to be kind of reworked. And also, I don't know how many people are actually farming Nebula as well. I don't see anyone farming it really that much. I think there should be more grind spots and more incentive to grind, and maybe remove the time cap. There's a lot of things that I could talk about, but I think Nebula as a whole needs a big fundamental change and rework.
I think the rewards. I think one of the things is the rewards on Nebula. The payoff for like the rewards that you're getting into farming it, like you're farming it for like an hour, but then like what are you getting in return? It's not as worth. So a lot of people just don't do it nowadays. People used to do it for like PvP, but now we got BG, so people don't really do that anymore.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's one of the reasons why Nebula just pretty much like emptied out, even on the frenzy zone, which is like from local time, it's like 8 to 10. Yeah.
Or if you want to just shout out your channels, please do so now.
How do we spend 30 minutes, again, talking about tanks, and then we spend 0 minutes in the whole video, 1 hour and 40 minutes long, and we don't even mention daggers? We don't even mention daggers. Are we okay? What is this? What's going on? No, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Actual yap, bro. I mean, Invulnerable definitely has some really good takes. Some of the takes were good, but some didn't actually make sense at all, in my opinion, honestly. I do agree with the heroic changes. I do agree with Tank needing some changes. I do agree with Oracles getting a nerf, for sure, even though some of them are defending Oracles, but not mentioning daggers at all, yeah. Bro, this game is doomed, bro. GG.